Hello everyone, ProAce here. I was requested to make a video on hero DPS and what that looks like. And I came to the conclusion that you need three things: a weapon, accessories, and the pet. I'm going to talk about each one of those and what to do depending on where you're at in the game. So I logged on to my early game Twitch integration person. This is who I use to get the hard ancient dragon down, or to beat a boss when I was first leveling up. And the weapons aren't very good, but it's something typical of what you might see while you're leveling up. And what you need to do in the very early mode is, you'll see this one is physical damage, 15,000 DPS and 1129 physical. And this one's 31,000 DPS, 2955 poison, with that green marker underneath. The very early on, depending on the resistances, you may want to go for a physical damage. Later on, it may not matter because you'll have your defenses that can take you on, take you further in the game. But so the very beginning, always, whenever you're doing a weapon, always upgrade damage. That's step one, regardless of wherever you're at. Beginning game, end game, you're always upgrading damage for hero DPS. And then, so once you have your weapon, you can go test it out and see what it does for damage. And then you can see the physical was white and the poison was green. So let's take a look at, this is the character I DPS on whenever I do bosses. And your weapons are up here. You have for the rogue, you have the sword and the bow. Always upgrade the damage, like I said, for both of them. This is the one that does my damage. And at this point, at the end game, you're going to look for combinations of the modifier. This one is Inspired Assault 2 out of 2, which is okay. There's another one, Marked for Death, for rogue. You can look into Spinning Steel for squire. There's other ones as well, depending on whatever you're looking to build. You may or may not want that item for the specific hero class. Inspired Assault is just a generic 20% damage increase, which is always valuable regardless of which character you're playing on. So right now, I'm using a weapon from the keep, the Wolfsbane Sniper. And that's because I don't like the shot pattern of the Forsaken Temple. Like, when I aim my crosshair at something, I want it to hit it. The Forsaken Temple, I hit the ground because it has this lob effect. And when you're on the rogue, you're going to be hitting 4 for your Humble Form and trying to throw your Poison Dagger at them to do damage. Well, so I'm hitting it with my my Poison Dagger, I'm hitting it with them, but I was not hitting it with my shot. So right now, I would suggest not using the projectiles that come from Forsaken Temple because of that lob. And here's the obsidian weapon for the apprentice. It's the staff, and it does the same thing. It lobs into the ground, like you're hitting the ground, like right underneath you. You have to like aim up. It's really weird to me. I'm not a fan of it. So if you're doing any type of projectile, I would say go for the keep weapons. They're the best right now. And if you're doing swords, you can do the keep or the Forsaken Temple. Let's see if I have a obsidian sword. Maybe not. Maybe I don't. Oh well. You can do any type of the obsidian sword from the Forsaken Temple. The next most important thing to do is to check out your accessories. So on this one, it has power, range. Like, we're just looking at the top stats, not the builder stats. So we have, you know, this is a builder, right? It has power 4, power range, power 4. When you're doing a hero, I like having, personally, HP regen and mana regen. For example, this piece right here. Like, ignore the bottom parts to it. You have the 4.5% HP regen and 5% or 5 MP regen. I would say those are the most important things for accessories. Maybe you want to do movement speed or stability or, you know, reflect damage in this instance. If I could have a choice, I would pick something else on the bracer than the stability. I would pick mana regen. And in this instance, I have, you know, mana restore when I pick up, you know, mana. I like that when I'm doing the spin to win, because you're always collecting mana, it feels like, whenever you're using that. This is what I'm using for, you know, for the summoner, is I use the Lil Bomber, but I have mana regen, mana regen, mana regen, and HP regen too. So those are, I would say, the next important thing is to get your accessories in order for your active hero. So so if you're on a Squire, you want to have mana regen, so you can use C and have this hero boost up at all times, so you can do more DPS. This character, I think I took off all the mana regen. Oh, here's mana regen on one of them. But, you know, you'll see people, they'll always be, you know, flying around on their summoner or their Squire, and they always have like their pet ability or this blood boil going the entire time. Well, that's because they have mana regen on their accessories. Very important stat to keep in mind. And then pets. Which pet should you get? For summoner, I like the Lil Bomber. I like being able just to, you know, sit there, chill, and know that it's gonna homing missile seek, kill the mobs, and I like that. So you want to get nice good ones that have 3 stats, 0.63 attack rate, 3 projectiles on the Lil Bomber. If you're just breaking into Massacre, it doesn't matter, just put a Lil Bomber on, you'll do fine. And then there's some other notables like the Propellor Cat. I need to get a better one, but you want to get the 4 max targets and about 160% boost damage on your prop cat. And then there's the Gemstones. Whenever you're doing, you want to boost up some, you know, items. You can get your Gemstones on for striking, and you're speedy, so your things attack faster. Others ones of note are like the Penguin, the Monkey King, Steam Robot, and today the Dice Pet came out on King's Game, and this is what they look like. They have a ton of stats on them, almost competing with the giraffes. So you'll see that a giraffe has, you know, 4,000 on stats, and I haven't got a Supreme dice yet, but you'll see, you know, like this one, 3,700, and they actually do a fair amount of DPS too on them. So, you know, they're a melee AoE hit, but they have mana drain, crit chance, crit bonus. That's for the pet, not for your DPS. And then every time it attacks, it has a chance to restore ability mana. And it also has, for a pet, cast rate by 10%. They also added cast rate on the giraffes. It increases cast rate by 20%. And that was today too. So that's my guide to hero DPS, is to, 1, get the weapon upgraded on the damage. 2, check the accessories out, make sure you got HP regen, mana regen, any of the other modifiers that you're looking for. And then 3, figure out the pet you want. And how is that going to fit in your build that can get things done? Well, that's all I have for hero damage. You guys take care and have a good one.